iMovie just has a stock set of transitions. There's no possibility for plugins. And if you're looking at doing picture-in-picture transitions, there's really only 3 of them to choose from: dissolve, zoom, and swap. Keynote 10.1 fixed a flaw that prevented animating video clips and added a feature for videos to play across slides. This allows Keynote's powerful magic move to be used for transitions. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to use Keynote's powerful magic move with video clips to make a slide down and right picture-picture transition and a dropping frame transition. Okay, let's look at a quick example of how Magic Move works. First step, fire up Keynote, new document, and we'll go with the basic, and we need the widescreen, the 16:9 ratio, to match iMovie's video frame. So we'll go ahead and create. Then we'll just select the text here, get rid of our text. Let's go ahead and insert our objects. We'll draw it from the media. And we're going to use video clips since that's what we're going to be using eventually, and that will demonstrate a few things. I just keep mine in the photos library. So we'll click on this video of me hiking barefoot, and another video of a group hike along the Colorado Trail. So we're all set. We can get rid of our chooser box. Let's make them, our clips, a little bit smaller so we can see some animation. And we'll place them kind of on different ends of our video here. We're all set. Our next step, click on the slide display over on the left-hand side here. Right-click and duplicate, and that'll make a second copy of this slide that is exactly the same as the first one. And now what we'll do is we'll do stuff on this second slide, and then Magic Move will make the transition from one to the next. So just for grins, let's switch positions here. And okay, now we've got them switched, and then we will rotate them. Rotate this one by 90 degrees, and we'll make it full vertical, and this one will rotate by negative 90 degrees. And we'll make that one full vertical. So this is kind of a silly example, but it illustrates all the different things. So these 2 video clips will move, they will change size, and they will rotate all at the same time. Okay, now we're going to go back to the first slide and set up our animation. Select both of our video clips. And then we're going to, under Movie, turn off Start Movie on Click. We want this to start from the very beginning rather than from where I click. You'll notice that Play Movie across slides, which is the new Keynote 10.1 feature, is selected by default, so we don't have to turn that on. So the slide will play during our Magic Move. Now we're going to select the slide itself up here in the on that left-hand panel. Click on the Animate tab, and we're going to add an effect. Magic Move is the one we want. Okay, so it'll give us a quick preview of what's going to happen here. And it's going to happen over a 2-second time period. That's fine by me. And rather than doing it on click, we're going to change this to automatically. Now let's take a quick look at the build order here. Our first clip will start after the transition, which since this is our first slide, this will be from the very beginning with no delay. And then the second one will by default start after the first one. So we want to change that with build 1 so that both of our videos will be playing at the same time. So I think we're all set. Now another new feature in Keynote 10.1 is play slideshow in window. So it'll show up right on this window. This is used for Zoom calls and stuff like that. In this case, I have 2 monitors running and it wouldn't appear, so play slideshow in window should show our animation. And there we go. There's our 2 videos. It'll stutter a little bit when Keynote does a preview like this. It doesn't play in real time very well. It isn't able to keep up, but when we export to a file, all that stuttering will go away. So there's our example. But it's not a transition, so let's start with a picture-in-picture transition because these are a little simpler to understand. We'll start out by deleting our second slide because we're going to reposition things a bit. Then we're going to zoom out a bit because we're going to slide our picture-in-picture frame in from above and then out to the right. So we're going to move this barefoot hiking clip up above and outside of the frame. Make sure it's arranged on top. It's on the front. And then we're going to add a border here. It defaults to a black line. And we'll make it 3 points in width. Then we'll make our Colorado hikers full frame. This is how, since we're going to be doing a transition, we're going to be wanting to play our normal video full frame. And then we're going to bring in this picture-in-picture frame from above. So now we can select this slide and then make a duplicate for our magic move. So then we'll move this guy in. That looks like a pretty good spot right there. And then we're going to select this slide again, make another duplicate, and on this one we'll slide it off to the right. Okay, let's go back to our second frame here, and we want to delay this transition by about 5 seconds because that's how long we want the picture-in-picture to play before it transitions out. So now we have our initial slide with the picture-in-picture frame above, our main slide which plays our picture-in-picture frame, and then our third slide which has it sliding off to the right. So let's go back and play this in the window and see what it looks like. There's our picture-in-picture frame sliding in, and you can see it's stuttering a little bit, but again, when we export to a file and slides off to the right. Perfect. That's exactly what we want, a custom picture-in-picture frame. Now let's do a transition to a full frame clip, but we'll make it one you won't find in the iMovie library, a falling frame. Our first step, just like last time, we'll get rid of the junk from our prior efforts. We'll get rid of slides 2 and 3. And then let's get rid of the frame around the barefoot slide. And then we'll slide it down onto our hikers, Colorado hikers, and we'll make it full frame. And at this point, you got to make sure that the clip that you want to show first is on top, because what we're going to do is move this guy out of the way. So this one has to be on top so it shows first. So now let's duplicate this slide. Okay, and in this case, we're only going to need 2. We're not going to need 3. So now we're going to take this top slide and we're going to rotate it down. So we're going to arrange and rotate it 270 degrees. And we're going to move it below the frame. So this is going to make like a hinge motion and make it look like it's falling off the top. Now we're going to go back to our first slide and look at our magic move. And we want to change the easing to ease out only because we want it to start up slowly, but then once it picks up speed, to finish the whole thing. And we're going to change our delay to 0, and you'll see why in a second. The reason is we're going to start the transition at the same time that we start the second clip. So another thing, you can see what I've done here while I was offline. I also have the object list shown here. You can hide or show the object list. And this is kind of handy. You can use that when you have multiple layers of video clips, especially when they're full frame like this. It can be difficult to make sure you've got the right one selected. So Keynote does a good job. It has this little mystical ID number here, and then kind of a shrunken picture of which one is which. And what we want to do now is we want to select this second one here, which is the B5B, and go look at our build order. And that's our second one, which is fine. We want to do it with build 1, but we want to start our delay for when we want to start the transition. So let's set it to 4 seconds. So basically what will happen is our barefoot walking will happen for 4 seconds. And then that second transition, that second clip will engage 4 seconds after the start, and then our magic move will immediately begin. So we should be all set. Let's go ahead and play slideshow in window. And there's our hiking after a little stutter start. Ooh, and there it goes. Into iMovie from Keynote is pretty straightforward, but we'll go over it just for completeness sake. So make sure you have your first slide selected. File, export to movie. And we'll get rid of our delays. No delay in the next slide or the next build. We want the highest quality possible, 1080p. Next. And we will put it in our movies. And this one is going to be called Picture-in-Picture Transition. I could have done either of them, but I'm doing this one. And Keynote does these pretty quickly. It just takes a few seconds for it to render them all. There we go. I'm all done. I can minimize that window. And here it is in my iMovie folder, Picture-in-Picture Transition. So let's bring up iMovie, and we will import from pictures, import from movies, and there's my picture-in-picture transition, import selected. Oops, I guess I put it in my shared folder, but no big deal. So there it is. Bring it down onto the timeline. And there we go. A custom picture-in-picture transition made in Keynote 10.1 and imported into iMovie. And you can see down below, even the audio comes in. The audio isn't very exciting. It's just footsteps in this video, but The audio is combined for the two videos. So we are good to go. Thanks for watching. If this video was useful, click like or subscribe to my channel below, or leave me a comment.